everyone, and welcome to another episode of Live Better. I hope you missed us this past week. I was out of pocket. I was actually in the wonderful small town of Lima, Ohio. Most people seem to want to pronounce it Lima because we've all grown up knowing about Peru, but none of us grew up knowing about Lima, Ohio. But what an incredible time. But we're back. We've got a super guest with us today, Dennis Yu, who I could probably spend the entire hour just telling you about his experiences, the accolades, the places he's been. It would take me 20 minutes just to tell you the places he's going to be going here in the next little bit. But while we do have you, of course, we want to just invite everyone to make sure that you're using the hashtag LiveBetter. Let us know where you're visiting us from. I see J.S. Gilbert here with us. I appreciate that comment there. You know what? The rumor is I did crush it. I was the MC there. And Vanita Adams, thank you for being here with us as well. And for those of you who are new, of course, we want to invite you to subscribe to our channels, like our pages, follow us. You can click the bell. We'll give you the notifications, or you can even go to Wave.video and you can sign up via email, and we'll let you know next time we go live, when there's new updates, all the things that we provide to help you not only live stream better, but create better content, videos, images. Everything I do here in Wave. Now, I appreciate JS bringing up Lima, Ohio. It was interesting for me, and kind of a little takeaway for me. I started off emceeing. I came out. I wanted to pretend that I was on a Zoom call, that I was dressed similar to how I am right now, right? Looks really good from here up, but just wearing some shorts down at the bottom. So I came out in what looked kind of some comical boxer shorts, with the misunderstanding, oh, I thought it was a Zoom call, and crickets. And I thought, oh no, I'm in trouble. But as the event went on and I stuck to my message, which wasn't boxer shorts, but just trying to perform, entertain, break the monotony, get people laughing and engaging, people got used to who I was. They got used to the message that I was trying to deliver. And as they got comfortable and realized what was going on, as the day progressed into the second day, the energy just continued to build. It didn't fade at the end of the conference like sometimes you might see happen at some of these. They knew who I was, they knew what my message was, and they knew how to respond accordingly. I just had to stick with it. And I'd love to get Dennis's input and feelings on that, as well as we dive into our message today. Dennis is a content creating beast. But one of the cool things that he does is he specializes, let me read it. It's better this way. He specializes in helping young adults grow into leaders of tomorrow by confidently developing their marketing skills through training programs and seminars with enterprise clients like Nike or this basketball team. Perhaps you've heard of them. They're called the Golden State Warriors. So it's interesting. We've got a few people that are saying my audio sounds awkward, and we've got some say that I sound fine. So guys, I'm not sure. I'm pretty good at troubleshooting, and I do not see anything on my end that would be causing this. So without further ado, though, let's bring in Dennis, and let's see how his audio sounds.
Hey, Chad.
How are you, my friend?
Hey, everyone listening here, let me know, how does my audio sound? I won't be offended if there's a problem. Is it distorted at all? Is it clear? Let me know.
So you came in kind of hot and loud here on my side, but I turned you down. So we'll see what everybody else has to say. Everybody's always willing to give us feedback. Jim Fuse, he's a great guy in the streaming world. Olivier does, everybody here does great jobs. Dennis, J.S. Gilbert, Olivier, Eric. So we'll see what they have to say as far as people sounds good in the audience. So Jim says we sound okay. So
what's up,
there
JS?
you go. J.S. Gilbert, what a hoot. He's going to be a guest here here soon. So, okay. So they're saying maybe you sound a little low. So I'm going to put you back up, and we'll see how that's going. So Anyway, man, I tell you what, every time I log into social media, you're not just like in a different city, you're in a different country, in a different hemisphere. You have been all over the world. You've been running like crazy, haven't you?
I've been flying like crazy. I wish I was running because then I'd be losing some weight, but I've been eating like crazy for sure.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about running. Let's talk running, because if I remember correctly, back in the day, running was kind of a big part of your life, wasn't it?
I ran twice a day, 100 miles a week, D1 cross country and track. I lived, eat, slept running. I even had Steve Scott, who was an American record holder in the mile, award me when I a medal when I won a 10K when I was a
Wow.
teenager. My whole thing was I wanted to be an athlete and I wanted to run for Nike because as an 18-year-old, I had this idea that if you worked at Nike, you were just hanging around other athletes and all you did was work out all day. I had no idea it was a mega corporation with meetings and managers and corporate filings and things like that.
Right? Surely there's no paperwork. They just lift weights. That's
Yeah, I mean, you think it's like a Nike commercial all the time, kind of like like a fire festival. You think like that's what these people do is just party all the time.
Yeah, no, no, it's so true. I've had jobs that I've taken where I thought, oh, this is going to be great, and then you get into it, and you're like, I didn't realize all of these other moving parts were going to be part of my responsibility. So, um, that's funny. So with the running, did you ever get to run for Nike, or was it later when you got into the marketing world that you got to do things with Nike?
Well, I got to collect money from Nike and I got to promote a lot of their running products when we did analytics and ads for them. That was a lot of fun. But I never was fast enough to be a sponsored athlete. I remember writing in and they replied back. And I think the lady's name was Shelly Bridges and she was the internship coordinator. And she said, Dennis, thank you so much for applying. This year, the world qualifying times to be sponsored are this in the 5K, this in the 10K, and these other times. And I said, nobody in the world has run those times yet. That's ridiculous, right? So, but a lot of my friends who ran on the SMU cross country and track team, they ended up either working at the shoe store for like $8 an hour or doing like some side sales jobs. And these are folks like my buddy Duncan Craig won the NCAA title for the 10,000 meters and in cross
Wow.
country. So this guy is just super talented. These guys are all Africans, of course, fantastic, but they didn't make any money. So I'm so glad I was on the entrepreneur side versus the athlete side. And any of you guys, if you're a pro athlete or you have friends that are pro athletes, you're just like one paycheck away from complete devastation because you get injured, because you miss a flight, because you don't win first place in that race to collect the prize money. Like there's 99% of pro athletes in running are completely poor and they do it just for the free shoes.
Wow. Wow. Running not as lucrative as football, basketball, right?
No, well, for every one LeBron James or Steph Curry, there's a million street kids that think that they're going to be a Steph Curry and they're just broke. There's only, you've heard the exception proves the rule. And that's what the issue is. You see one Jake Paul, and there's millions of other teenagers that think that they could be like Jake Paul. They don't realize how much work there is behind the scenes.
Wow. So, how did you go from running? Because I'm curious if there were any tie-ins to like the things that you just enjoyed, some type of emotional connection that running and something that it did for you that took you into this mentoring mission that you're.
I would love to say that running was this spiritual journey and I enjoyed running and this kind of thing, but that's not the case at all. Running is just measured torture. It's sprinting where you are out of breath the whole time and trying not to fall apart. I ran my first ultra marathon, which was my last ultra marathon at the Portland water. No, not Portland. It was the Redmond Watershed Reserve, which is right outside of Microsoft's headquarters. And it was a 12-hour race where we did a 5-mile loop, this hilly loop over and over and over again. And I won the thing and ran 72 miles, something like that. So I basically ran 3 marathons back
Wow.
to back. And after the first marathon, I cruised through in 4 hours. The second marathon, I was just running the whole time. I didn't walk or not even up the hills. I went to the second marathon in 4 hours and basically just about the third marathon in 4 hours, back to back to back. I I just felt more pain. I didn't get this spiritual enlightenment. I didn't get this kind of realization. I woke up the next morning with cramps so bad that I needed to be in a wheelchair to get to the airport and be wheeled all the way to the gate. And the lady that was pushing me in the wheelchair, she said, there's a lot of these other people that are, because I looked at these other teenage girls that didn't seem to have any sort of physical problems, and they were doing the wheelchairs too. And they said, yeah, well, this is like before pre-check and clear and all that. It's a quick way to bypass security and get straight to the gate. And then these girls wanted to be dropped off like one gate before because they thought it was embarrassing looking or whatnot. But yeah, running never did that for me. I did running for one reason. I like to win. And I was good at it. And it wasn't because I was physically fit. It was because I knew how to tune my body like a machine, how to get every little bit out of it, from stretching to your different energy systems to the right shoes to, well, yeah, someone here is asking, how do I get those shoes? So Nike, they have size 9 as the sample size for everything. Plus I'd go there and I'd get stuff at the employee store all the time, which is fantastic. I would go there and bring stuff back for friends and they take orders. I get stuff that wasn't even released yet. They had, I guess, Converse and some of these other brands that were part of Nike. I had Adidas too at the same time as a
Wow.
client. So I would round up people's shoes, get them exchanged or get new stuff, do that all the time. But the running was winning. And I mean, there really is a whole analogy about how entrepreneurship is a marathon, because you constantly have setbacks, you have to train, there's a lot of pain, there's sleepless nights. All those analogies about entrepreneurship naturally worked for me because I understood that when you're training for a marathon, you're initially putting in those base weeks, getting up to 100, 120 miles per week. Then you start to put in strength and you taper the last few weeks. There's a whole system that you go through. You have rest days, right? You have speed days, you have long, slow distance days like Sunday mornings or whatever your distance day is. Most people put on the weekend. And I learned about these different systems where sometimes you have to sprint and sometimes you have to rest, or you have to have active rest, because then maybe the next day you're doing speed and strength and you don't want to be tired because then you won't be able to run at the level that you need on for those days. So it made a lot of sense that when it came to entrepreneurship and especially mentorship, that running taught me a lot. I had other friends that my friend Jeff Gall, he was on the high school team, and we had the top women's team in the nation. We in high school, we had one of the top men's teams. And I would teach these kids how to run, say, sub 5 in the mile. I'd pace them. I would teach them how to win races just through the psychology. There's a book called Peak Performance, which is out of print. Sometimes you can get a copy of it. It talks about how the mental training is more important than the physical training. And I learned so much about that. I could run in such a way. Let's say you and I, Chad, we were 1 and 2 in a cross country race in the beginning, in the front, and I would run right off your shoulder. And you wouldn't be able to hear me. And so it would unnerve you. I could be running at full tilt and you wouldn't hear me breathe. And then I would psychologically time it where at the top of the hill, and anyone who runs cross country competitively knows this, we get to the top of the hill, and then I would surge right at the top, right when you're tired, and I'd surge around to the next corner till I got out of sight, and then I would slow down a little bit. But by the time I was visually out of sight,
Mm.
you already gave up, and then I'm going to win.
Wow. Wow. That is wow. And I'm imagining that race where you and I are 1 and 2 in that race. And for that to happen, there's only 2 people running that race, because that's the only way that you and I are in first and second place. So, um, so okay. So I know you got into the whole marketing game, but I'm curious how you made the shift and made the mentoring component social media, because I've seen you speak and it's always been impressive to me. We're all out there, we're trying to make a name for ourselves, we're trying to do our thing, and the speaker today is Dennis Yu, and then you get there and it's like, yeah, Dennis is there, but he's allowing these young up and comers to do the presentation with your guidance. What made you say this is what I want to do?
I had an incredible mentor, and everything I have, any opportunity I've had was because he created it. And it was the CEO of American Airlines. It was Al
Mm.
Casey about 30 years ago. And I was just some young kid. I didn't know anything. I was what was called a paper tiger. Ever heard of a paper tiger?
No.
That normally it applies to Asians, where they're on paper, they're really good. They're good at taking tests. They just do really well in terms of grades, but they don't know relationship and soft skills.
Mm.
I learned those things because this is when I applied to Nike. I thought, wow, got a great resume. I know a lot about Nike. I have all the sorts of things you would want, except other people were getting in who were fat and were B students, and their daddy was connected somehow, right? And I realized the power was in connections, building these kinds of connections. And mentorship was everything for me because a mentor tells you about things that you don't know that you don't know.
Mm.
And that's the thing that you really need to know. It's why this thing called Dunning Kruger will change your life. Any of you guys listening, if you don't know what the Dunning Kruger effect is, you need to look it up. It will change your life on
Done.
what you.
Kruger.
Everyone knows what they don't know, but you don't know what you don't know, if that makes sense. And so a
Gotcha. By the way,
mentor,
guys, well, if
mindset.
you're watching here with us, I'd love to hear what if you guys had a mentor. Let us know in the comments. But I'm not familiar with the Dunning Kruger effect is.
Real quick, the Dunning Kruger effect is where people believe confidently they know something about that they know nothing about. They love to give their opinion about entrepreneurship or about, whatever it is, and they have no experience. I had people that would try to give me advice on public speaking, or my mom wants to give me advice on, how do I hire and fire people? Or I remember when I was at Yahoo, a few years into Yahoo, there was this company called Google that was starting to come up. And she said, Denia, Google, you need to go look at Google, search engine real big. And I said, Mom, really, search engines? I work at this company called Yahoo. And it is this, I know something about search engines, I'm working at a company that does something very similar. Right. And ended up she was being right, because if I'd switched to Google, I probably would have made $100 million when the company IPO'd. Instead, I made okay money. I didn't make that kind of, by being loyal, I got penalized by staying at Yahoo. But Dunning Kruger is, you have a lot of people that love to give advice on something they have never done successfully multiple times, but they heard someone else give advice. I've had young kids in our program. They want to go live with me or speak on stage and talk about how do you become a millionaire? To which my question is, okay, you want to teach people how to be a millionaire? Are you a millionaire? So the antidote to Dunning-Kruger, which there's so much more about the Dunning-Kruger effect, but the antidote is what Ray Dalio calls believability. So in his book, Principles, which is my favorite book of the 4,000 books I've read, he talks about taking advice only from people that have done the particular thing that you want to have done. And that cuts out 99% of people that would love to give you advice, but they're not credible. Their believability is zero. So how often, Chad, or everyone else here, do you have someone trying to give you advice on something they don't know the first thing about, but they're confident and they love to give you their opinion on something? Unfortunately, I'll be polite and say thank you very much, but I'm not going to listen. So
Jim says he likes to give me advice on my hats.
You'll see this all the time, is where someone wants to teach you how to become a public speaker and they can't speak clearly. They want to teach you how to start an agency. They've never done that. They want to give you advice on how to become a CEO. I probably get 3 or 4 of these every week. Somebody who wants to coach me on how I can become a better executive because I'm overwhelmed with life and all that. Yeah, I know, I get that. Most of the CEOs I know are dealing with that. But are you managing a team of a couple hundred people? Are you dealing with cash flows and these different sorts of deals? Are you negotiating with leaders of other countries? If not, then, as much as I know you'd love to sell me this coaching program, you're not qualified to give me advice. right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. This was it, right? Principles, Ray Dalio.
That's right. That's the
Okay.
one.
Principles,
Yeah,
Life and Work, in case anybody's looking.
fantastic book.
You know,
Yeah,
I
not
should have
just
I
this
should have put
guy.
my Amazon link, right?
So it's not because he's one of the world's richest men, but the way he built Bridgewater Associates into the world's largest hedge fund was because he used principles to make decisions among teams. So you hear about things like the dot collector and other ways where they make decisions based on what has the highest believability. And this happens all the time. Even this morning, I was dealing with a friend who was caught so much in his own emotional turmoil and distortions that he couldn't see through what was an obvious project that, in my opinion, had obvious decisions, obvious conclusions that we needed to make. So you see that emotions create such a blind spot. And the way we get around blind spots is through having mentors that can see where we don't see, and also that have done the very things that you want to do. So everyone here, this is one thing that I wish I knew earlier. What's the thing that you want to do, that you want to accomplish?
Great question. Let us know in the comments, guys.
Then who has done that? Those are the only people you should listen to. Don't listen to me for chat. Listen to whoever it is that's done the thing that you want to do, right? Isn't that the fastest path?
I mean, absolutely. And if you are blessed with the opportunity to find that person and get set up that way, what a great. I was blessed this last week. I got to MC for the first time at a conference. Most people don't believe it that saw it, and that's fine. I'll take it. But I'd been on stage, right? I'd performed.
Mhm.
But Jessica Phillips gave me the chance to do this particular skill, and right after that, I contacted a couple of friends of mine who I know have done a lot of MCing, so that I could, hey, how can I get with you so that I can grow in this, because I felt alive. I loved it. I want more, but I don't know how to get more.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's wow, incredible. Now, so you're mentoring, you're doing these things, and you're teaching these guys the obviously marketing principles, and Facebook ads has always been a big thing. You have a new book out. Is it the Ultimate Guide to TikTok Ads?
Definitive guide to TikTok ads.
Definitive guide to TikTok advertising. So, guys, you definitely, I would suggest picking that up, because knowing Dennis isn't going to just put something out that 3 months from now is going to be irrelevant. It's going to have some lasting power and be based on principles and not just how-tos. That's my guess.
It is, but you would have to overcome Dunning Kruger. You would have to actually read it and see what we put in here. So you'll see a lot of this is on video technique instead of features that are in TikTok that change all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll in a year from now, it'll still be relevant.
And see, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I know you. So I knew it wasn't going to be just a how-to TikTok. It was going to be principle-based and relevant to how TikTok uses that content. Now, let's dive in. This is how I told you. This goes by so fast, especially because I love to ask questions that are story-based and get stories, and it just things fly. But I do want to get into some of the things that we're picking up. Let's see. I just make sure that I didn't miss anything from buddy here, checking here. A lot of people with the coaching comments. So, and just agreeing with what you said. But as far as this content factory, as you called it, right? I remember, and I'm sure there was something prior to that, but the biggest piece that I recall you being an evangelist for had to do with 1 minute video. So is that kind of where the real content factory component started for you? Was it the 1 minute video?
Everything goes back to the fundamentals, just like shooting 3-pointers. If you're Steph Curry, you have to do it over and over and over again. And if you can make a 1 minute video and you can cover one key point clearly, then you can do a 15-second video. Then you can speak on stage. Then you can teach a topic in a Zoom call. Then you can answer a question on live TV, like I did a few hours ago in Australia. It's the foundations of being able to tell a story where there is a beginning, a middle, and the end. And this is something I learned the hard way. I'm a search engine engineer. I'm an Asian math guy. I didn't speak English until I was 6, but I learned public speaking from other people that did speaking. And one time I was with George Howell, and he and Anderson Cooper are the anchors for CNN, big news channel. And I remember he took me aside.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, he took me aside and he said, "Hey, Dennis, no offense. Please don't take this the wrong way. I know that you've done a lot of keynote speaking where you speak for 45 minutes, or maybe lectures or webinars where you speak for an hour. But when you're on TV and the total segment time is 3.5 minutes, you have 15 seconds for your soundbite. So I'll ask you a question, you have 15 seconds. Another question, 15 seconds. I know you would like to say more, but you've got to be able to cut it off." And I said, "But how do you do that?" And he said, "This is what you do." And I'm glad you asked. Most speakers like you, they have an intro. So, I ask a question, or they ask me a question. Should Facebook be regulated? And then you have an intro like, "Well, yes, I think they should," or "It depends on this," or "George, that's a good question," or whatever, your first sentence or two. That's the beginning. Most people can do that one. Then you have the middle. You tell some story. Social media networks are addictive, kind of like cigarettes. Do you think the cigarette companies are going to be able to regulate themselves? Well, let me tell you about how there's PhDs at Facebook that are just trying to get you addicted to the newsfeed or whatever. So you have some kind of middle.
Right.
But the part that people miss is the end, right? That exit. You need to have the exit right as you have the intro. So the exit would be, and that's why when I look at TikTok, where they have the same algorithms, they're subject to the same thing. Boom, end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, I don't think Facebook is going to be able to regulate themselves. Or you need to have some ending. If you don't have an ending, then you keep wandering and wandering and wandering, and then they cut you off, and that's embarrassing, and they won't invite you back again. Then all the other TV stations will know, this guy, Dennis, he just can't shut up, so we're not going to invite him on the TV, right? And that's what's
No.
called rambling old man syndrome. Usually it's white guys that are over 40, and they just keep talking. And that's why they suck at TikTok. Their TikToks don't go anywhere because they can't get to the one point. Can you make the one point in 15 seconds? That's what this is.
I love that. Wow. Love that. And of course, TikTok, I guess TikTok decided that, hey, the 40-year-old and older white guys are really struggling, so we're going to allow you to make longer TikToks. They did it just for us. Is that what it was?
And how's that working?
I'm not a big TikTok watcher, but I'll go and my wife will be watching them, and I'll be like, that seems really long. Oh, well, they allowed them to be longer. Yeah, that seems really long. So, which is interesting, right? The magic behind it was the quick flip. Oh, that was great. That was great. That was great. If I want to listen to something longer, I'll jump on YouTube. All the platforms trying to beat each other. I told somebody the other day, with all the changes on Instagram, I can't wait to see who's going to make the new photography, based app for still images, since Instagram's decided they don't want to be it anymore. I missed that, and now there isn't one. So interesting to me. I digress. Let me ask you, because obviously the show here is called Live Better. So live streaming is kind of the main focus. So, and I do want to come back to the 1-minute videos though, because I want you to maybe just give everybody just a quick little example, like I know you've done when you've done presentations that I've seen, because I'd love to challenge everybody here to post one in the Wave community of you doing your 1-minute video. And maybe Dennis will take a look at those if he has time, because he's not doing anything.
No, I'm just sitting around doing
nothing. He's just traveling all over the world. So, but live streaming, how can, or what are some ways you would suggest? Because I know you've set up a studio for shooting more video and stuff. That was a big thing for you recently. You actually took us behind the scenes and let us see you creating that, right?
Yeah.
So how can I use live streaming not as my complete content factory, but to help me get the factory cranking a little bit better?
Let me tell you all a little secret. Did you know that every video ever produced was produced live? Right? Now, whether it is being released live or whether it's being pre recorded, at one point, every video was live, just like everyone at one point was 3 years old and at one point was exactly 27.2 inches tall, right? So the way I think about live is not how do we play to the live crowd, which is what we have here. We have what, 9 people here. Thank you, JS, Vanita. I see John. Yes, there's the live crowd, but really going live is a way to force you to produce the video. And what I like to tell people, especially those people who like to ask lots and lots of questions but never get around to taking action, is the best video is the one you make, right? And most people, they never make the video. Let me give you an example. So yesterday, I was here with my friend who is a chiropractor in Minneapolis, and here's a 21-minute video of him with one of the leading Muslim folks in the country. So you can see they're having this whole discussion, and they've known each other for 15 years. And because my friend, Dr. Mark Soli, is so well connected in the Muslim community, and because the imam, who's the teacher, kind of like the pastor, has told everybody about this, and everyone knows about the relationship where Dr. Soli takes care of everyone when they get in a car accident or whatnot. Even if they don't have any money, he's built a reputation about this, right? They've never made any videos together. The video that I collected on this iPhone yesterday was the first video that they had ever made. And if you listen to the kinds of things that the imam said, it is absolute gold. I'm going to randomly just go to somewhere in the middle of this thing, and I want you to listen.
Park Center, that the two cities, high school, Park, Brooklyn Park.
Actually, let me just fast forward a little bit through here.
That's why, I'm here, and I need to make some of the flyers, or if you have some tips you can forward.
Actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. Normally this works when I just randomly choose a point.
I believe the better this business, the better our community. He gives, he shares with the common people. The young people come to him. His spouse sometimes even join the association, what they call it, soccer team, all these different contributions, and just even sometimes so humanitarian. Some people don't have resources. They walk in here, he never turns anybody away. So just imagine if we have the means of expanding this and we get more employees in our community and train people, the better. Even yesterday, one of our guys was involved in an accident. Yesterday, and then they took him to emergency. I've not even spoken to him. Maybe he will end up coming to you because they all know you.
Isn't that awesome?
So,
Wow.
Now, imagine 21 minutes of that is what's occurring. And this wasn't a testimonial. This wasn't like, oh, you should see Dr. Soli if you get in a car accident. This is Mark being highly involved in the community, supporting it, going to the mosque, learning about what Muslims are actually about. And by sharing his relationships and sharing the stories from over the years, which were never captured on video before, he's growing his business. I would ask you, Chad, or everyone else here, if you were Dr. Soli and you were a chiropractor and you were well known in the community and you got the leader, the most important leader. And so this is where, Washington, D.C. summons him to events and conferences. This is the guy who speaks and is represents Muslims in Minnesota. He's one of the top guys, if not the top guy. What is it worth to have this guy give you a full heartfelt endorsement? And then what if you take that and chop it up into 1-minute videos, repurpose it, put it on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, blogs, TikTok, whatever it is, and then you put it out there, you boost it for $1 a day. What's that worth?
I love that your big parts of your system for succeeding with all this both have ones in it. 1 minute, $1. It's like the McDonald's drive-through. It's the $1 value meal, and we get it out fast.
Well, it's higher quality than that, but imagine you could get
but it brings in volume, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And I love what you were talking about, that the two of them were sharing the stories and building the relationship. One of the things I always teach when I work with people and we're trying to find their stories, because a lot of times they like, I don't have them, and helping them uncover them. And then also then realizing that is a story. That is something people can relate to. It is relevant to your business because it's relevant to who you are. But that when we share our stories, or even better, when we ask other people their stories, I call it opens up a portal of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a lot of power in that. And even though the audio was a little off and it was hard to completely understand, you could still feel the video that you just shared.
Yeah.
So incredible. Jim Fuse says that you provide much more value. I totally agree. Sorry for the McDonald's. It's like McDonald's numbers, but steakhouse quality. There we go. Sorry. Shame on Chad. Okay, we had a couple people asking about the 1 minute video, and if you're okay with that, do you mind just giving people just a quick little rundown of how that would work, and maybe we could challenge them to create and share a few?
Most people, when they try to make a video, they end up trying to say everything. And you can't summarize your whole life in 1 minute. You can just tell one story. You can talk about one thing. Like, do you know most flight attendants take melatonin as their way of being able to overcome jet lag? And so I talk about melatonin for 1 minute. Or did you know that these USB-C power cables, I live and breathe by them because they charge faster than the regular USB 2 ones? Or I just think whatever it is that you want to talk about, like this Rode Wireless Go 2 is how you make great video. Because you know what ruins video? Bad audio.
Right? Amen.
Whatever it might be. Or I want to make a 1 minute video about our book. Just make a list of all the things that you'd like to say and resist the urge to try to cram 5 things into one video. Just 1 minute for each one. Beginning, middle, end. Introduce it with a hook, which is some interesting thing, some movement, something to get their attention so they're not scrolling anymore. The body, which is the meat of what you're saying, kind of like the meat between the two buns. And then the call to action at the end. What do you want them to do? What can sign up or click on the link or scroll or swipe up or whatever it is, fill out the form, call, and everything that you do should fit into those. Now you can retroactively do something like take our time here together in this live stream with Wave.video, Chad and I, and cut out 1 minute stories and repurpose those into tweets and audiograms and blog posts and whatnot. The beauty is that people who can get to a point and tell stories will tell them one story at a time. And when you focus on one moment at a time, where your camera is like a movie camera and it follows a scene, like physically following a scene, that's when you get a powerful story. When you think about your favorite movie or book or whatever it could be Finding Nemo. Then you hear about Nemo and Dory. You don't hear about the entire school of fish and all the statistics. The power of the story is in the individual and the details of that individual. My buddy John Ushai, who ran product for Instagram, said that you focus on the apple, not the orchard. And so in the videos, how do you isolate that particular story? Pixar is so powerful, not because they render the most polygons per second in their graphics cartoon stuff, which they do have a lot of AI and tech, but it's because they focus on the details, those little nuances. And that's what you're going to do 1 minute at a time.
Absolutely love it. I love it. By the way, speaking of favorite movies, J.S. Gilbert has said Marvel will be making a movie about Dennis's origin story very soon. Tell you what, would you mind possibly as an example? I was going to ask this, but Vanita mentioned it as well. An off the cuff Dennis Yu 1-minute video about your new book.
Yeah. Here, so I'll give you an example of a 1-minute video. We're going to open with a hook, something to get your attention. 2 is I'm going to explain something in the body, and 3 is a call to action, right? So here we go. Did you know TikTok in 2022 is like Facebook in 2007, where you used to think it was all about singing and dancing and teenagers and your customers aren't there? Let me tell you, it is a gold mine. And if you missed out on Facebook in 2007, it's not too late, because TikTok has your audience, except the AI is doing the work for you. You know, the funny thing about TikTok is that you don't need to be on TikTok to run TikTok ads, because TikTok knew it's about boosting what other people have to say about you. That's right. Other people's posts about you, Chad's and Vanita's posts, JS's posts about me, I can boost. If your customers love you, you can boost those posts. Those are called Spark ads. And you can also run lead ads, which are just like Facebook's ads. TikTok's changing all the time. The cost of traffic is a fifth of what Facebook is. I invite you to check out what's possible now. It's not too late on TikTok. Go to Amazon, search TikTok ads, and you'll see our #1 best-selling book in social media ahead of Gary Vaynerchuk and all the other categories. Come check it out.
Boom. I love it. I love it. And I've seen you do this before with other things and bring people on stage.
Yeah.
And
doesn't matter what the topic is. Yeah, I know. So you can follow through as I'm going through those 3 stages, right?
Absolutely.
Every time you can hear it.
Wow. And we'll do the same with this. We do with the show every week. This one, there will be a whole lot more of repurposing and short bits and pieces, because it's just been incredible. I knew it would be. We have a smaller audience today than usual. Part of that's my fault. We skipped a week, got out of the groove. But on the replays and whatever, guys, I'm going to go back and watch it, because it's really so much value. Appreciate you giving us that time today, Dennis. Guys, we want you to do the same thing. Do your hook and get the meat in there and your call to action, and share them in the Wave community. Let's see your 1-minute videos. We're all there to help each other out. Maybe somebody can give you a little assistance and some pointers. So let's see you do that. That would be great. Dennis, before we go, we like to have a little fun on top of the fun we've already had. So if you'll bear with us,
let's do it.
We like to do this little game, and the audience plays along with us, and it's called This or That. I'm sure you've seen it. We're going to give you 2 options, and you're just going to let us know which one you would pick. Sometimes I'll ask a follow-up question, because I may feel like, maybe there's a story there. So let's do it. All righty. Everybody play along. Let's see where we go. This or that, Dennis, TV series or movie?
Movie.
Interesting. I in my head, I thought you were going to say TV series. I don't know why. I think it's because I think it's because it was short, pieces. You can. But you like the sit down and just knock it out, huh? Fair enough. Okay, paperback book or Kindle?
Paperback, because I like to hold the thing and bring it to the bathroom to read.
I agree 100%. Funny story, my dad, growing up, we never were able to read paperback books that he bought. He'd tell us he liked them, but we couldn't borrow them, because the way he would mark his place is he would tear the pages out as he went. Okay. Sausage or
bacon all day long. I love bacon, especially thick maple honey bacon, sometimes with chocolate.
Oh man, you need to get with Mark Schaefer. He wrote about a guy near his hometown in his Cumulative Advantage book that makes bacon, and the secret is that he feeds the pigs acorns. And we got to go and visit the plant and get some of that bacon, and phenomenal stuff. Okay. Roller coaster or water slide?
Water slides. It's more interactive. It's more fun.
I'm with you 100% on that one. Jay Iskiller says sausage and bacon and more sausage. Socks or barefoot?
Barefoot. When you're on the beach, you're not going to wear socks. You're not going to have your Jesus walkers with your socks. Barefoot's so much better for you healthily, as long as it's not like on asphalt or something. And people will still disagree.
Interesting. So are you a beach guy then? You went right to the beach, so.
I love the beach. You can't be unhappy at the beach.
You can't be unhappy at the beach. You need to come and visit us during hurricane season. All right, and the last one, we're switching it up this week, folks. It's actually a little bit of a question instead of a this or that. When was the last time you tried something new?
I try many things new every day. I feel that when you get caught in a habit, that's when you get stuck in a rut and the clock accelerates on you. So when you're doing new things, time stops. So I've learned how to use this new travel light. It's absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
I was using the other lights before by some other I don't even know the name of this company that makes this one. G1S. This is a multicolored light. It's fantastic. I was using it for TV interviews. I'm always trying something new. I'll take a different way home. Like if I'm biking back from school, or I'll try different things on the menu instead of ordering the same things. I intentionally try not to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I agree. It's easy to get caught in those ruts. So sometimes you have to kind of make that extra effort to do it. But this doesn't surprise me. I don't see Dennis Yu as the rut guy. He's constantly innovating and constantly sharing. And I love that you are open and you share those things with your audience. You know, it's not like these are my secrets. Buy my course today. Like you're very open. I've seen you give away like crazy amounts of information and slides. I forget how many slides were in the presentation that you like gave to people who were at Social Media Marketing World that year.
1,200.
Yeah.
Good luck. So, yeah. Good luck trying to go through all of them. Imagine how much effort it took to put all that together based on our practice. It's all based on what we've done. These are not just theoretical ideas. Anything in that giant document, which we call now the Master Action Guide, it's like the guide to do anything that you want. It's in there.
Wow. Yeah, I remember just hearing it and going, wow, outstanding. J.S. Gilbert, by the way, says he has that light, that it's by Pixel.
Ah, okay. I just got it yesterday. I had Amazon deliver it to the hotel.
That's awesome. I had to do the same thing in Lima. Thank God for Amazon. I had to have some props delivered for the emceeing the conference. So, Dennis, before we go, we like to. This is our way of saying thank you. You know, a lot of people will do the 1 minute. We got the 1 minute videos, but some people will do the elevator pitch or the whatever. But we don't have elevators here at Wave. We're in the water, and so the only thing we could think of that goes up and down was a submarine. So as a way of saying thank you, we give you about 50, 60 seconds to just, it's your time. You can pitch a product. You can let people know where to find you. You can share your just latest passion if you want, but we're going to put you in a submarine. And as it begins to submerge, it's your time. No one will interrupt. And you have all the way until we come back up to the surface. So, and if there's any problems, I will be right here for any emergencies. But any moment now, we're going to go ahead and start going under. So it's your time. Go ahead.
Right. Let's do this. You know, guys, I was in Pakistan a couple of weeks ago. Why? I was with the government leaders. I was with the top entrepreneurs, the top YouTubers, the top folks who are creating jobs in factories and whatnot. And we're there to create 1 million jobs because you know how much money they make there in Pakistan? $60 a month, full time, $2 a day. It's not the dollar a day, it's $2 a day for income. And so we want to create 1 million jobs, $500 a month, and they're all learning how to do the things that we teach: editing videos, doing SEO, managing blog posts, running ads, all this kind of repurposing content. And so we have a group. You should come check it out. It's facebook.com/groups/DennisPK. And you can hire some of these folks that are well-trained. It's good for you because you get out of this nonsense you don't want to do. And it's good for them because it creates jobs. So go check it out.
Wow. Wow. That's, oh, wow. I It's rare that I'm at a loss for words, but you've impressed me since the first time I've ever met you. And I don't always comment, but sometimes I'm just lurking. But it's always in awe of not just what you do, but who you are. And I'm grateful for who Dennis you is, and it's a pleasure to be able to call you my friend. So
Well, it's
thank
great
you.
jobs, my friend. Look, all of us are producing videos, right? I mean, if you're not producing video, you're not going to be using Wave Video because there's no ingredients. You have the best skillet, but if you don't have any food to put in the thing. So if you're making videos, then my question is, how are you going to go about getting it distributed and boosted and all that? You need people to do that. So you should hire people from our content factory for $500 a month, full-time, working just on your stuff.
Wow.
Good for everybody.
Love it. We will get the, I didn't have that particular link for that group, but I'll make sure that I get it and that we post that in the comments as well as in the group. Dennis, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with us today. Guys, just so you know, next week we won't be here. I'll be speaking in Wichita, Kansas. We'll try to go live and at least check in with everyone and let you know what's going on. And then the week after that, we'll be back with Kurt Nugent, who I think you guys will enjoy. He is a tech guy, and he's going to talk about the gear. And he's just a fun guy to be around. Dennis, one more time, thank you. Thank you guys for everyone that's out there being here with us, for your engagement and sharing who you are. We look forward to your 1-minute videos. And until then, we wish you the best, and we'll see you next time where we all learn together how to live better.